Hello, this is Hansje speaking from Tygron. We have received some questions up front, so we will answer the questions we had received, and I hope at the end I have answered all the questions that have been sent before. I wanted to start with the questions um, um, regarding the language. I had a question. Combination of Dutch and English in the software makes it hard for non-Dutch to work with. And also one, how can you change the language, everything in the application to English? There are two options where you can change language. Um, First, I'm going to show you when you start a new project. In the project wizard, you have an option to select Dutch or English. But I think you probably all went through the step already, so I don't think this is going to help you that much. But you also have the option to change the setting you have chosen in the project wizard in the file option in the editor. So that's the second option where you can change it. So I'm going back to the editor screen, and in the upper left corner you have the file option. If you open this up, you get a screen with some project details, and in the bottom you have also the option for available languages. So you can select Dutch or English or both of them, then you will get an option in which language you want to start your project. So make sure you have checked the English checkbox. If you didn't do that already and you check it now, you will get an question to save your project first. So it could be if you don't do it immediately, some things will still be in Dutch. So after that, if you have saved your project and you continue working on it, it will be changed to English. So I think that will answer the two questions regarding the language options. Now, as I'm in the file option, I just want to mention the versions as well. Please note there is no undo button in the platform. So please make sure you work with versions. So if you have changed some settings, please save a new version. If you have made a mistake and you want to undo it, you can go in the main menu to options, and there you have the option for my account. And in my account, you can see the project you own and also in which version is active. So if it's needed, please set back version there to a previous version, so your mistakes will be undone, and then you can continue working on the project. So that is a side note because I think it's something that is going not always that good for every user. So that was a side note, sorry. I want to continue to two questions regarding overlays now. So first, there was a question. There are major differences between Tygron overlays and, for instance, Klimaatatlas. And there was also a question on an easy way to export maps with overlays as a picture, so you can have a good quality picture. Well, first of all, I wanted to give a small explanation about the um, the overlays. The overlays are based on calculation models. So let me go to overlays now. For example, heat stress overlay. This one is calculating the scores for the surface and the purpose of your building, for example. So an open water or open grassland will have a more positive effect on the heat stress instead of the buildings, especially industrial buildings, for example. And they look at the grid that the map is divided by. So for every grid cell, there is a number that is being used from where the overlay is being built up. Every overlay has its own calculation model. So if you want to know some specific information on a specific overlay, I want to ask you to go to our wiki page. Let me see that I can switch to the wiki so I can show it to you as an example. Let me see which one would be a good one to show on the wiki. Traffic noise, yes. So traffic noise overlay, for example. So here you see the calculations that are being used for this overlay, and also the sources over here, I think. And yeah, well, all relevant explanations have been given regarding this overlay. So for every overlay in the engine, we have a wiki page with these kinds of explanations. Then regarding making a picture of it, let me switch back now. This one. The short answer for the question of if there is an easy option and to, for example, create a JPEG, no, you cannot do that. There are some options available, but the one is easier than the other one. To start, we have in the Tools tab the option for a screenshot. So here you can take a screenshot. Maybe you want to enlarge your screen. Oh, sorry. Here you can take a screenshot if you want to. And now you see the file is been uploaded to your laptop. So that's one option. Then we also have a 2D viewer option. If you go to web interface, go to show 2D map, a 2D map of your project will be opened in a browser. And here you have also your overlays available. The downside from this option is that you have only a part of your project available here. So it depends if you want a picture of your entire project. I think you have to work with screenshots. If you want to have a more detailed option, maybe the 2D viewer is an option for you. So here you can also say save and then save your browser as an what do you say, afbeelding? Image, yes. Then there are two options that are a little bit more complicated, not by using it in the interface itself, but This will ask for some work afterwards. You can, for example, say export geotiff. Then you select your um, the overlay you want to use in the left panel. So I was working on the heat stress one. So now I selected this, and here you have your export grid file. So here I can say geotiff or another format. But if I export this one, I will get a file as well. But I need to um, change some settings maybe in a GIS program. For example, things like the legend or the grid size are things that can be changed. So you have to adjust some colors maybe. Um, Grid size, by the way, is something you can change yourself as well. Over here, you have an option to change the grid size of your overlay. So this can also be one of the reasons why the overlay can differ from, for example, the source of the Klimaat Atlas. Maybe they work with a different grid size. So um, this is also a setting you can change manually if you want to. Um, Let me see if I have told everything I wanted to tell regarding the overlays. Yeah, I think so. So then I wanted to continue to the questions regarding the indicators. Let me see, there was a question, a more easy overview on what influences indicators. There was also a question, present indicator goals, how are they determined? And how are the indicators composed and where do we see that? Well, I wanted to start with the question about the preset indicator goals. You can change the indicator goals if you go to indicators in the current situation tab. And then you have, well, for example, let me see, building municipality. Then in the middle part of the screen, you will see um, a field where you can enter your targets. So in the case of the municipality building indicator, it's even specified between different options of types of houses. So, for example, a municipality probably should do something about squares. So let me say I need to create some squares and some parks and maybe some leisure activities. So here you can change the targets. And well, for each indicator, you will have the target option in the bottom middle panel. The goals that are already being set by default are targets that are created during projects that we have done as Tygron in the past. But I really need to express that these targets are specified for specific projects. So it will probably make no sense for the project you are working currently because it's a completely different area, maybe a different map size that you are using. It could be you have a different topic you are working on. So it's just a default number, and it will take some action from your side to change this manually, I think. Um, then the question of how a indicator is composed. This has been done by an Excel. For let me just show it to you. For every indicator, there is an Excel available. You can see and download and upload and um, um, update your Excel files when you select Excel sheet in the right panel. So here you can say get, and then you can just save the Excel sheet if you want to. And you can also select a debug Excel sheet. I will get back to the difference between that in a minute. So I will give you an example of an Excel sheet now. Unfortunately, I cannot open an Excel live in this streaming program. So I've made some print screens to give you an example of it. I will switch to it now. Um, I think you can see an example of an Excel sheet now. Let me check it in the stream itself. Of course, there was a small delay. Yes, I see it's working. So this is an example of the original Excel sheet for the green indicator in this case. So again, here you see the target. I'm not sure if I can use my mouse to say it, but otherwise I will just tell you the cell. I think it's 013, where you can see the 75 as a target for the green indicator. So here you can also see the unit size, so square meters per house. And in the bluish um, fields from B12 and 13 to E12 and 13, you can see what kind of values are being used to extract the information regarding the green that is being counted in the green indicator. So if you open this Excel for an example and you see the grayish part, if I would be able to click on the grassland information on C16, you would see a query. And this query is being extracted from the Tygron platform that will asks that will ask how much green land is there in a specific neighborhood. So that will give you a number that is being used in the. Okay, so I will continue on the indicators, and I was telling that the platform gives these numbers as an input based on the query that has been asked in cell C16, for example, for all the grassland in the specific neighborhoods. Well, in this case, in this project, there are 6 neighborhoods. So the numbers have been given for these 6 neighborhoods on how many grassland there is in this project. Well, these numbers are used in the calculations that are also given in this Excel sheet. Like I explained, in every indicator is an Excel sheet being used. So if you're curious on the calculation models, again, you can go to our wiki and just enter, for example, in this case, green indicator. So you will get an explanation on the green indicator. What is the calculation model that's being used? But if you want to have more specific information, you can also download this indicator and open up the Excel sheet to see for yourself what are the specific numbers that are being used. Then before I will go to the function values, because this is also something that influences the indicators, I just wanted to mention that we also have an Tygron index where you can find more indicators, also indicators that are not automatically by default available in the platform itself. You can enter the index from out the platform itself, and then you will um, get to this screen. I think you will see it in a bit because of the delay. Okay, so in the index, you can find more indicators that have been uploaded by us or maybe by some clients of Tygron. You can also create your own indicators and upload these in this Tygron index. So here you can download more indicators as well. Here you have a green indicator, for example, but it's a different calculation model that is being used. So if I select this one, I can see a description, and also it is connected to a manual. If I go to this manual, you go to our wiki again, and in this manual you will find the calculation models as well, and maybe if it's needed, the additional configurations that are need to be done before you can use it in your project. So regarding to the index store, I was wondering, I saw that group 6 had posted a question on our forum regarding importing a indicator. I think it was a water related one. Yeah, the water stress indicator. And I was wondering if it worked out now based on the answer that has been given in on our forum. So maybe somebody from group 6 can explain in the chat if it worked out, yes or no. In the meantime, I'm just quickly gonna show how to enter the store from out the platform itself. In the platform, you have the community tab, and over here you have index. So if I click on this one, for now in the stream it's not working because it will open a new panel and the interface will not show it. But if I go to index, it will open the index store that I just showed you also. So that is how you can find that. Our wiki, the same, and also our forum. So if you have additional questions also after the day today, please post them on our forum. We will try to answer your questions as soon as possible. Just checking if somebody from group 6. Yes, it worked out. Okay, great. That's good to hear. Maybe we can enter on our forum that it worked out. Then also other users who read our forum knows that this is the correct answer for them. Okay, yeah, then I wanted to show something about function values, because that is something that influences these indicators. Every element, I'm just going to switch back to general map, by the way. Every element in the 3D world, so buildings, roads, but also the grassland itself, has function values, and those are being explained, for example, per building or per element. Over here on the right panel, if you go to buildings and select a specific building, in details, category and attributes, you will find all kinds of numbers that are related to this building that explain the influence it has on, for example, the noise of the traffic overlay, but also the water storage, or the heat value for the heat map. So this is building specific. And you also have a function value table that can be found under the current situation tab, the option buildings, and then you have edit function values. Again, I cannot open it now live because there will pop up a new screen, but I made a print screen to show you what I want to explain about this. So, but this is how you can find it. So if I open this up, I will get a function value table. And here you see all the different elements that are present in the 3D world, sorted by category. So, for example, student housing, then you have student containers, cheap student housing, but also luxury student flats. So those are 3 categories that are present in this project. And you see on the right side of this panel all the attributes that are linked to this type of building. So if I would be able to scroll over to the right, you will see that there are a lot more of these attributes. So these numbers are influencing the indicator. So if I build some new student houses, for example, luxury student flats, and let's say that the value of the heat stress is a positive one, it will have a positive effect on my heat stress map if I draw this new flat. If the cheap student housing has a quite neutral, not good, not bad value, and I draw that, you will see that, yeah, well, the effect is less than in comparison of the luxury student flats. Now there was also a question regarding the energy consumption. How do you put energy consumption within an attribute table? I assumed that this question was referring to this table, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm just going to explain how to add an attribute to this table. So because that is how you can add a new attribute linked to a category of the models. So if you see on the bottom left, in this panel, you have attributes, add, and then a field where you can enter a new name. So if I enter, for example, energy, and I say add, A new attribute will be added to the attribute table, to these function values. So in this print screen, I have created a new function value called energy. And you see that all the numbers per category is still blank. So if I say this attribute has a effect, positive or negative, on all the different kinds of housing types, or maybe offices. I'm not sure what topic you were using and what kind of buildings there are available, but you can enter the numbers yourself over here. So it's per category, and this is how you can add these attributes. So I hope this answered the question. If not, please let us know in the chat. Then I think I can continue to the questions regarding actions and upgrades. There was a question, how can you split the costs of interventions between various stakeholders that would be involved in a real-life intervention scenario? Therefore, I go back to the platform itself. I think what you can do best is add a function, an action for transfer money. So this deal of who is paying what should be spoken about face-to-face, maybe, or you can also maybe add the message box so you can type messages to each other within the interface itself. But normally you would just give the option to all stakeholders to transfer money. So if you want to do that, you go to Future Design and go to Actions. And if you select that one, you see a whole list of all actions available in the whole project. To make it more clear, I will just check my checkbox for show only my stakeholder. And you see in this case the inbox version is already available over here, so I can receive messages. And I want to add a new one for being able to also transfer money. So I select add. Now I got new action menu. So I change the name into transfer money. Maybe I want to edit this image to some bills and coins. And then I go to actions, the action tab in the right panel. And here you have special options. And in special options, you have the option for finance. And there you can find the transfer money checkbox. So now you see in my action menu, the transfer money option is being added. So if I say show, then I can select to what stakeholder. You see all stakeholders in the project that are available. I can enter the amount and a description. So please just talk about what is the plan, who is doing what, who is paying what, and then you can transfer money to each other. I think that is the easiest solution for your question. And then there was also a question about upgrades. It said the building models weren't always able to upgrade. Yes, that's true. That can be the case. If you go to upgrade types, there you have some examples. I will show it based on one of the examples. So if I go to roof, flat roof, green roofs, I see here in the middle all pairs that have been created of types of buildings, for example, glass offices that can be changed to glass offices with green roofs. So if you're not able to upgrade the specific type of of roof you want to upgrade, or something else you want to upgrade, that's probably because the pair is lacking in the middle panel. So it could be that you need to add a new pair. For these example upgrades, it's not possible to just add a pair. You see it's grayed out. So you would need to create a new category yourself. Maybe the easiest is to pick one of the example upgrades that is containing the most examples you want to use and just select duplicate. Then you can start add new pairs yourself. That's what I wanted to tell about it for now. We have a webinar available specifically about actions, measures, and upgrades. Let me show it to you. So for now, I wanted to ask you just to go to that that webinar. If you go to upgrades on our wiki page, then in the bottom, well, over here, you see the webinar already. So there, everything about the upgrades and how you add new pairs is explained over there. So I think that answered the questions about the transfer money and upgrades as well. Let me see. Then I had a last question regarding traffic flows. Does Tygron recalculate traffic flows when closing down roads? By default, it does not. But it depends on what you want to achieve with it. What kind of solution will fit you best. So is there somebody who maybe can give a more specific answer on what you want? Do you want it to be calculated, yes or no? Maybe somebody can put it in the chat. Yeah, so if you do want traffic flows to calculate, you have two options, I think, that can be used. You can, again, work with upgrades. So if you have a road that you want to close down, I will show, if you go to current situation and then the buildings option, let's say I want to change this road and close it down. I select this specific road and then I can see the units per hour that are on this road. In this case, I see there are 200 units per hour. So I can see what kind of road this is. This is just a general road. And in upgrades, I can say, okay, I'm gonna make a new pair. General roads can be changed for closed roads. So on the new closed road, I can say this one has 0 units per hour. So if I would change the road to an upgrade version of this road, then, for example, in the traffic overlays, you will see that there is no noise, there is no pollution, and the traffic flow is also stopped over there. So that is one way of changing the flow of a road. And you have also a more, how do I say that? More detailed version of how to change this option. Therefore, I want to notify you on the wiki page about it. We have a traffic model page. And on this page, you can see all elements that are influencing the calculations, but also when you scroll down, you can see some steps how to create your own traffic model. So you have the option for a static traffic model or a dynamic traffic model. Based on what you want to achieve, you can just follow these steps and implement your own traffic model. But this is, more complicated than working with the updates. But I think it will depend on what you want to achieve, on what will fit best for you in this case. I think I have answered all the questions that have been sent in advance. Let me see in my notes if I forgot anything. No, I think I have covered all questions. So I hope that this helped you, and I hope you can continue on working on your project now. And I must say we are very curious on the outcomes of your projects. And I, can't say enough that if you have any questions in the meantime, please, please, please just put them on our forum. We are trying to be there as much as possible to answer your questions, but also other users of our software are available there to help you getting answers as quickly as possible. So please don't hesitate. There are no stupid questions. Just post them on our forum. Let me see. I see a new question. How to create a hole for water retention? Change the level, for instance, for a swell or wadi. Let me see if I can simply answer that. I would go to future design. Over here you have the options to create measures. Measures are short explanation actions, but in a package. So here you can combine some actions, but also change some spatial elements. So in this case, I selected add, and a new measure is being created. I call it water. And here you have events, and then the add spatial option. So here you can select the measure spatial. Here you have the type. So in this case, I want to use water or flatten. It depends. In this case, I will use flatten. And here you can change change the levels of the land height. Yeah, what should I change it to in this example? Oh yeah, that's smart. So the height level of the ground is now minus 1.2. Yes, so I changed it to -2. And then I'm gonna draw the outer area. So with measures, you always have to draw your measure up front. So later on, you are able to activate it, yes or no, by placing it in an action menu. In this case, I will just draw simply a figure. I say apply. So now I need to add this measure to an action menu. So I go back to actions, select a new menu. I call it flatten. And now I go to actions on the right tab. And now I go to measures. And in the measures, I see the water option I have just created. So if I go to the action menu now and I say apply, I can say confirm. And now this will be lowered. So this is also what you can do for water and create more water storage, for example. On a more in-depth explanation about how to use this, I would also advise you to go to the webinar on the actions, measures, and upgrades. In that webinar, yeah, there's a broader explanation about these three elements in the engine. I will show it to you as well. Let me see. Measures on our wiki. Measures. Sorry. We go to the measures page. Again, you can find the webinar, but also all information on how to create one and what kind of elements are available here. So also the spatial effects are explained specifically. So I think that's where I have to leave it for now. I must say that in this example, I'm working in a timeline project, not to confuse you guys, but I think you were probably working in a planning project. So then if you perform this measure, the effect will be seen immediately. And in this example I just showed, you got a pop-up arrow. um, so maybe that's a little bit confusing, but in the webinar on measures you can see it. Okay, I think that's it for now. So thank you all very much for your patience with setting up this webinar and also with the internet connection failures and things like that. I wish you all the best on working on this project. And like I said, we are very curious on the outcomes. So please keep us updated. Maybe post a print screen on the forum on your project. And again, if you have questions, please use our forum. We are happy to help you. So thank you all very much and have a great day.